Hey Leos, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be doing your 2021 overview reading here. So your meditation was short and sweet, kind of great. Let's get into it. I was taken immediately to a night sky full of stars. And then I saw an image of the sun, the moon, and the stars. Then I saw a unicorn. Like, you can't even make this up. Like a unicorn with a rainbow tail and rainbow hair soar across the sky as shooting stars, went every which way. And then I saw the words balance, equality, alignment, and purpose. I feel like this image of the chakra system has come up for you before, and actually more than once. When I think about unicorns, that's very much about a nod to the past because it equates to the judgment key, right? So it's about, sending love to the past or acknowledging the past and the gifts and what you learned from it and whatever else. So you can move forward into the completion of the cycle with the world key, right? Which is, successful completion, graduation day, happiness, all of that good stuff. There feels like there's this feeling of perspective. Because when I think about the night sky and the sun and the moon and the stars, like you look up and suddenly you realize like how big the world is and how, small your problems can be in comparison, right? So there's this aspect of perception and this opportunity to view yourself and your situation through the lens of limitless possibility. Okay? All right, let's get your animal energy. 2021 Leo. Ooh! Oh, I'm so happy about this. Okay. Get a little drink there. Okay. The Otter. Can I just tell you something, Leo? Can I let you in on something? You are my second to last reading for the 2021s. You're the only, I cannot tell you the number of times the repeat, like it was mostly, most people got like two animals over and over and over again for their yearly like energy ahead. Was mostly the crow and the gazelle. You were the only one who got the otter. And I love the otter. This equates to the Six of Cups, which is about the past. So it's, similar to the Judgment Key and nostalgia, right? It's also about play, right? The Six of Cups, like innocence, connecting to the innocent aspect of life and what's enjoyable. What's interesting too is that the unicorn equates to spiritually and artistically gifted children. And I have the otter, which is all about childhood and the past and feeling good and innocent and new beginnings and emotional connections that are sweet and pure. I love this. Otter's very much about playing, being in the moment, and the wisdom that we can glean from observing and being around children, because they are very much in the moment all the time and they believe that anything's possible because no one's told them differently. The world hasn't gotten their hands on them yet, right? So they're like, anything's possible. Oh my God, is this a night sky full of stars? Yes, it is. So we have the Ace of Wands here. Showing up right here in your home suit of Wands and Fire. I love this. And in your most penultimate expression is an ace. Leo, this is very, very auspicious, I must tell you. So, Ace of Wands is very much about inspiration. Wands are about the actions that you take. And also what and whom you feel passionate about, right? Artistically, creatively, work-wise, relationship-wise, right? It's really good. It's about plans as well, feeling really excited and setting off on that journey, right? This is the fuel that gets you going. What I'm really drawn to here as well, though, is that, this firefly aspect of light within the darkness, right? These points of inspiration, illumination, perspective, and I'm hearing luminescence as well. Remember I saw the sun and the moon and the stars? And now we have this like light up aspect here. There is really this distinct aspect of illumination and being a source of light for yourself and others, I feel like, right? Because then you got the moon. I mean, more stars in the sky. Let's just keep going with it. Why not? The moon is very much about intuitive ability, psychic ability. It's also about the unknown. I also want to point out again with this perspective aspect of it, right? reflective surfaces. How do things appear versus how are they actually? I keep hearing it, limitless potential. You know, the owl equates also to like a 10 of cups energy, which is about complete emotional fulfillment. On the flip side, owl represents wisdom, and owls, so Ted Andrews, really obsessed with Ted Andrews, in his book Animal Speak, he says about the owl that the sun lives through the owl at night. So it's a misconception that the owl can only really see well at night. It's not true. It means that the owl can see just as well at night as it can, at high noon during the day. Perspective, illumination, seeing things incredibly clearly and manifesting from that place of clarity and clear sight. Leos, in it to win it. Lovely. So you have the 2 swords here, which is quite nice, I feel like, in this context. I do feel like there's a considering of options and weighing things before you move on them, which is always wise. But with this 2 of swords here, this is about recruiting your heart and your head to work together as partners. Right? It's you sitting down and going, okay, heart, what you got to say? What do you want? Where are you? And then head, okay, what you got to say? Where do you want? Where are you? Let's come together. Who has the floor? Who has more to say? Who has less to say? Where are we? I'm giving you both equal time and credence and space, right? I don't value one of you over the other, right? I'm going to take you both to the gym. We're going to get cardio in on both of y'all's. That's what 2 of swords is. Right? It's just taking a moment before you venture onward to, glean all of the information that is available to you from an emotional, intuitive place and also a logical, rational place of perspective. This is the T, the T. Well, it is the T, but this is also the key and the ticket, right? This is, God, thank you for this reading, Leo. Thank you very much. This feels very, very nice. Ace of Wands, let's do it. Showing up in your own reading, strength, Leo, strength, and a lion. Yeah, this is great. So strength, I feel like this is so auspicious for you. The infinity symbol here. The strength is very much about, look at how fabulous, sitting in the sun, feeling good. This is about deriving strength and showing resilience and persistence and fortitude, right? Just in general. Right? I'm hearing that strength is something that when you've accrued it within your lifetime, it is always available to you to pull from. Meaning, it's not something that you go through and you acquire strength and then you have to build it back up again, right? It's like I'm getting Hercules here, right? It's one of those things where, you go through times in your life where strength is needed, and then that strength stays in the, in the pot, in you. Right? It's something that accrues over time and never goes away. Strength that is, earned and found and built up through experience and trial and error and pain and experience, that never goes away. That's why they say, like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger type deal. That strength just accrues and builds on itself. That's why, the strongest people are the ones who have been through the most. I feel like you are pulling upon these reserves and using it to your advantage and your benefit. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. The moon. I'm loving this reading. I know I'm not supposed to play favorites, but I really like this one. It feels really nice. The moon. Ooh. Okay, so we have the 5 of swords here. Within this context, I must say I'm really drawn to the moth here. Let's look at it this way. By the way, daytime, nighttime, right? So I feel like there's an aspect here of, seeing things as they actually are from 2 different lenses and perspectives, right? When you look at something under the light of day, it will appear one way, and it's one aspect of its truth. When you look at something under the light of the moon, it may appear different. There's going to be shadows where there weren't before. There's going to be parts that you see better and less well than you do in the middle of the day, right? There's a glare versus no glare. I feel like there is something, or yourself, things you are considering from 2 sides of the same coin. You're going, okay, what is this aspect of it? What is this aspect of it? What's the shadow aspect of it? What's the light aspect of it? Right? And when we integrate all those together, it's the sun and the moon and the stars and rainbow alignment, possibility, and perspective, right? You're looking at it from more than one angle, which just feels really smart. I feel like that's always the thing to do. I just feel like it can be difficult to get there sometimes, especially because we are spiritual beings having a human experience, but sometimes that really does take some trial and error and effort and, I don't know, strength, right? I'm hearing that there's something extra special about your birthday season this year, actually. Extra special birthday season there. 5 of Swords. 1, 2, yeah. Again, about this moth energy, let's talk about this. So moths are associated with both the daytime and the nighttime. So I'm kind of obsessed that it's coming out for the moon. Traditionally speaking, 5 of Swords is people acting outside of their integrity. Right? People acting outside of their integrity. I feel like in this context, with the moth and you're looking at something, in the under light of the moon and under the sun, like in the light of day and in the nighttime, right? The shadow and the light. Moths are incredibly sensitive. They say like a moth to a flame. Moths are incredibly sensitive. They feel everything tenfold. Moths represent for me empaths. People who feel other people's feelings as their own. I do feel like there's a high sense of feeling here, but I feel like it's also saying like your intuition, your feeling, your empathy, because it's on point and working for you. And there is a difference between being an empath and being an HSP, right? A highly sensitive person, right? Being an empath is actually an intuitive ability. Being an HSP is similar, but it's not an intuitive ability, right? It's different. And I feel the call to, if that interests you, if that tugs on something within you, definitely research that. Empaths versus HSPs, because there's something here coming into play with that. And it's interesting too with the Otter, given that it's 6 of Cups and a return to childhood and nostalgia and innocence and a purity. I feel like you are operating from a place of high discernment where you are wanting to make more time and room for people, places, and things that serve your soul from a joy perspective, like a childlike sense of joy perspective, right? And less for things that feel too, and it's funny saying this, but that feel too adult, quote, right? That feel too adult, that feel too harsh, that feel too jaded, that feel too negative. It's like you're going, no, I'm the place and time for that has passed. I now know what is really important. 2020 has taught me that time and life are precious. Life is too short to be spent in obligation, and I'm gonna do me and enjoy myself. Because tomorrow isn't promised. And that also is another adult lens to look at, to look at childhood and children 6 of Cups through as well, right? Childhood versus adulthood. This is really cool, Leos. Really, really cool. So you could be coming from a 5 of Swords perspective going, I'm cutting out this and this and you and this and this. And it could be aspects of yourself as well that you're removing and cutting out, right? Have I not been saying perspective this whole time? You have the Hanged Man, which is all about a flip perspective, right? And we have a beautiful raven here too, because this always harkens back to Odin, right? Who hung on the tree for 9 days and nights in order to seek wisdom. So this is about the illumination that happens from flipping your perspective. I will say, the difference between, for example, like the Hermit energy, Virgo energy, who makes a deliberate choice to go inside and seek enlightenment. The Hanged Man is about this coming as a result of allowance, surrender. This is like, well, my situation, my opportunity is eliciting this from me. This is not something that I necessarily went out and chose, but I'm surrendering to it and allowing it because where I am, my current perspective is not serving me. It's not informing me. Thus, I'm going to actively flip it. Or I'm going to allow it to be flipped, I should say. Allow it to be flipped. Hermit actively flips it. This is allowing it to be flipped, right? And the Hermit looks a lot more comfortable too in his warm cloak and cape, as opposed to this guy who's hanging upside down with the rush of blood to the head, right? I'm gonna flip him upside down, but it's worth it. You know what I mean? It's worth it. I'm also drawn too with like the flip perspective and the tree imagery here and the 2 of Swords, the heart and the head. This is a flip perspective that comes from bringing together your heart and your head. Okay? Like we already talked about, which is really cool and lovely and amazing. All right, let's get an oracle. Oracle for my lions. I'm really drawn to the roses around this strength key as well. And I'm hearing that Guns N' Roses song, Every Rose Has its Thorn. It's like you're appreciating the sour and the sweet and understanding that one doesn't really exist without the other. You can appreciate the sweet more because of the sour, right? And you can endure the sour because you know that, you know, ultimately, again, there will be sweetness, right? Yeah. Okay. Oracle. Ooh. Oh, interesting. I was just reading about this. So you have the blade. Look how gorgeous. So the blade is very much about harnessing your manifestational abilities and using them wisely and with discernment. So the blade also speaks of cutting out, right? Back to this 5 of Swords, right? Remember what we said about that, 2 Swords? Cutting out people, places, things, and or aspects of yourself that are of a vibration that is not to your liking, right? This is also about harnessing your blade wisely, because one wrong cut or using it with too much force or not enough force, it results in a nick that isn't necessarily, but like it's the difference between like the precision of a surgeon who makes the exact right, you know, incision at the exact right spot that leads to what? Ultimately healing. You take a cut, you heal it, and then it gets sewn back up again, and it's worth it, right? As opposed to the blade used unwisely or without the 2 of Swords and the Hanged Man, head and heart discernment and flip perspective and an open mind, this can lead to, like, you know, butchery, right? And cutting out or seeing things that aren't there, or cutting out aspects of yourself and or others or your situation that maybe don't want to be cut out in your highest and best good, right? So incorporate your heart and your mind and allow your perspective to be opened wide to consider all possible angles, right? And if you do that, this is a heavy manifestation oracle here. This, along with the blade, with the otter, this is beautiful, but I will say these are 2 counter energies. And I do feel like you are being asked to use your strength wisely, use your power wisely, which, you know, could also denote that you have a certain sense of influence. You hold a certain sense of responsibility and influence for either those around you or in your work position, or you're in the position of where, you know, other people are, you know, speaking of doctors, maybe you're a healer, or maybe you're in a position where people actually listen and take what you say to heart. Even if that's you're just like the patriarch of your family or what that is, use your power wisely. There's a certain responsibility inherent within that you come from a place of balanced perspective and love at all times, right? So that feels really good as well. And also know when to wield your blade and when to keep it in its sheath, right? That's coming up for you here. But this is really beautiful. This is that equivalent of like, oh, I'm seeing Lord of the Rings when Aragorn gives that little boy the sword and he's like, yeah, let's use it wisely. I love it. This is, you know, a responsibility that comes with power. So, you know, Spirit is saying, use this wisely. This is being given to you, right? What are you going to do with this? How are you going to use it, right? It's actually really beautiful when you look at it that way, right? I'm also really drawn to the yellow and the green, which is the heart chakra and the solar plexus chakra. You know, the solar plexus chakra is how you relate to and how you perceive the world. And then the green is the heart chakra and healing. And then we have the same colors, the yellow and the green with the otter. So this very much feels about, you know, your seat of confidence, how you receive and relate to the world, and also your heart, right? Confidence and heart space, right? Clarity and feeling. That's what your 2021 feels like, Leo. And it's really, really beautiful. Really beautiful. You better get it and work. With that being said, Leo, this is, like I said, your 2021 overview reading. I am so obsessed with this for you. It feels so nice. I'm also really drawn to this pentacle that the raven is holding. Oh, thought and memory. Dugan and Dugan? Noonan and Dugan? Is that what Odin's ravens were called? Thought and memory. Thought and memory. It feels very important for you with the Hanged Man. Thought and memory. Around this flip perspective. Okay. This is your 2021 overview reading. I'm sending you guys so much love and the best and most happy wishes for a very prosperous 2021. I want to thank you guys for being with me all year, or even recently if you're new. I'm very much looking forward to, you know, coming right back with you with the January readings. And just thank you so, 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 so much for being here. And as always, and more than anything, and most of all, thank you for being you. And be well. Until next time.